trust in you.
Praise the Lord, everyone. Hey, this is Pastor Dale. I've been spending a couple days outside working in the yard around here, helping Pastor John out, and teaching young people about different things, about plants and so on and so forth. And we had the task of going to we have a row of raspberry bushes up against the fence, and they produce some delicious red raspberries. We also have blackberries and sweet cherries and sour cherries, and we have a couple peach trees and also an Asian pear tree. So, anyways, we were working out there and trying to trim out and thin out and getting rid of all the dead uh, black or raspberry branches. And the young man I was working with noticed that there was another plant there that looks just like raspberry plants. And he said to me, he said, "Well, Pastor," he said, "are these raspberry plants? These long, they look really green and nice." And I said, "No, they're not." And he said, "How can you tell?" I said, "Because there's no fruit on them." You see, it's much like Christians. Get it? Amen? See, there's a lot of Christians that, well, they give the appearance, but there's no fruit. And Jesus said that we'll be known by our fruit. Let me tell you what Titus chapter 1, verse 16 says. "They profess to know God, but by their deeds they deny him, being detestable and disobedient and worthless of any good deed." Now let's see what Ezekiel said. Ezekiel 33:31 said, "And they come to you as people come, and sit before you as my people, and hear your words. But they do not do them. For they do lustful desires, expressed by their mouth, and their heart goes after their gain." See, there's a lot of people in churches that claim to be Christians, but let's face it, they're not. And you can tell that by their fruit and by their deeds. I'm just being very truthful and very honest about this. We have a lot of people go in churches. They look great. They look fantastic. They got these real nice suits on and ties and shirts and real nice dresses and hats. But the minute they get outside the door, they're a whole different person. I have a friend who was in a college class with me, and he was telling me that there's a big mega church near his home. He doesn't attend it. He goes to a smaller church. And he says, "It's interesting, Pastor," he said, "that when people come out of there on a Sunday or out of any type of service they have," he said, "the road is usually lined up with all types of cars and they're going at a slow pace." And he said, "You would be surprised the number of people that come out of that church that roll their windows down and cuss somebody out because they're not going fast enough." It's amazing what Christians and people who claim to be Christians do when they walk out of church. Amen? He also noticed I was getting rid of a lot of dead branches, and I said, Jesus talked about that too. When it comes time for harvest, the thistles and that are going to, they grow up with the plants, the thistles, and grow up with the plants. Same as you've got some plants out there that look like wheat. They grow up, they look like it, but they're not the real thing. See, the difference in wheat is that you can tell which is the real wheat and which is not. The real wheat, when it's ripe, the head of it bows down. When it's not the real thing, it stands straight up. That's pride. So just a couple things to think about. We need to pray for those in church as well, because there are a lot of people, as I said, in there who really are not in there for the right thing. And let's believe God to change their hearts and to plant a seed while they're in the church. And not to judge them, not to criticize them, but to love them and to keep loving them and to keep praying for them. Amen? Oh, getting back to what that last comment was, that young man, he said, "I notice you're throwing them away." I says, Jesus said the same thing. They're going to, and the angels come back, they're going to reap, they're going to put down the sickle of reaping, and they're going to reap. And all the bad wheat, all the stuff that's fake, all the phony stuff is going to be gathered and burned. The rest is going to be stored in the Father's storehouse. Amen. God bless you. Love you all.
Song says, "Those who know your name put their trust in you." Come on. Come on, let's lift our voice real loud to the Lord and sing.